It's a Friday. Where are you? We're here. It's Anytime with Ken and Alden. I'm Ken. That's Alden.
Hello.
Hi.
We're here. We made it, guys. It was a long one this week. It was a long one, but we're here. We don't have Nintendo, but we're here.
Is it? We definitely can talk about that. Is this definitely? What do we call it? A roller coaster week. Up and down. Up and down.
I would call it that. Yeah.
And then it just
on our social media, anytime on air, BSky.social, I said that this week is another week in the boundless hellscape, and I do feel like that is a accurate description. It's just like kind of like Mad Maxy. Like over there's the tariff freaks. Over here is like RFK eating an animal. Over here is like Dr. Oz killing an animal to give to RFK to eat. It's just all Cory Booker won't stop yelling, and then we all cheer for him while he's yelling, and then he votes to kill people. So it's just like we're all over. We're all over.
Hey, look, the biggest win for me this week was Wisconsin. I'll take that as a win, a literal win. And the rise of Kate Abu-Ghazala.
Yes,
Zale. I'm learning to say it right.
Abu Ghazale. It's a great last name. Like it's I've never heard it before, and I think it lets her. It obviously helps her stand out. Very excited about her rise. Her commentary has been enjoyable. There's a lot going on, of course, in the news, and as always, like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. But we also want to acknowledge we are going to talk about, as our main topic, the loss of the great Val Kilmer. But if you have questions, super chats, anything about the week or about anything going on or about anything in general, our opinions, our takes, Ken is running a bracket over on the blathering right now. So if you want to yell at him for anything that happened in the bracket, you can do that too.
Go for it.
I've been voting in that, so plug for that.
Thank you.
Plug for us. We did a co-guest appearance on the Nerd Academy that is out today.
That is out today.
Jared.
Anytime lunch break time for Jared. A lot of fun doing that. And like you said, one like today equals one Nintendo Switch allowed into America. Don't ask us how or why. We'll just get it there.
We know a guy. I hope.
We know a guy.
Because I was excited. I saw the Switch announcement this week, and I haven't gotten a Nintendo in quite a long time. The last Nintendo console I had was GameCube. I didn't even have a Wii. I played Wii at friend's house, which just sounds weird. I played the Wii at my friend's house. And I was like, Switch 2, this seems badass. They've got some great camera stuff for co-op, great releases, some 4K remasters of great games. And then, Nintendo was like, we're not so sure about this tariff stuff going on.
Yeah.
So
look at that. Yeah, man. It's like Tully says there. We'd love to wake up without some nauseating, previously unthinkable news. It's been the theme of this year. I get it. It just keeps getting dire and worse, and little like I'm going to take the little sprinkles of hope when they show up. I think that's valuable. I think a lot of the things need to still get out there in the world, and I'm not rooting for these tariffs to come into place. Remember, this is a reaction to just the announcement of them, right? So we'll see what happens. But it's going to be some hurt, and sometimes you don't change till you get hurt. So I'm not again. That's not said with this smug kind of rooting for it. I'm just like, this is it's kind of here we are. We're all going to hurt.
Yeah.
Can anyone learn?
The retaliations as well. I mean, what's hilarious is that people here, especially the more bootlicky news outlets, are calling it like these retaliation tariffs, retaliatory tariffs. It's like they're not. They're tantrum tariffs. That's what they are. Like, and now we're seeing retaliation. Like we hit China. China was like, all right, here's 34% on you guys. And so we are officially in the opening crawl of the Phantom Menace.
No, we're there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We're here.
Just waiting for the senator from Amazon to put his army around Delaware as the thing.
Probably around Wisconsin at this point.
Guy in Wisconsin, which was again the thing Joseph Scrimshaw said in 2014 on a show that made me go, I want to work with him. And maybe he's a little more right about the prequels than I remembered. But yeah. So a lot of stuff to get to here. Where you want to go, buddy? Yeah, or where does the audience want to take us somewhere? Do we want to talk about the GameCube some more? I don't know.
Yeah, again, audience, you have a lot of power. I want to be more encouraging. We're not Twitch guys, so I'm not constantly like chat. What do you think? Chat, is this real? Chat, can we get a? I'm not.
I am.
You know,
I'm good at bringing them in. I just,
you are. You're better than I am.
Yeah, but I am. It's a Friday. I woke up. I didn't sleep well last night, so it's I got brain fog. What is that? Is that a worm? Should I talk to RFK?
Yeah. Well, there might be a spot for you in the administration. The brainworm is a strong qualification for what they're doing. So we could get you a job.
Oh, good. I need one.
What could we get you? Homeland's taken. What else? I'm trying to think of anything they haven't filled.
Excellent department. I don't know. I'm so happy the president is getting a good golfing weekend end.
He's here in Florida. He's in Doral down in Miami.
Yeah.
So yeah, anybody here in the comments, feel free to throw out a question. Super chats encourage, not necessary, but I will ask you for a like. I will pressure you for a like. This is pure pressure for likes. But in general, I wanted to sort of treat it as the main topic, discuss, celebrate the great Val Kilmer. You and I were texting about something completely unrelated. I think in true like Gossip Girl fashion, we were like talking shit about somebody or something, and then I got the notification I got the notification that he had passed. Our friend Trey Mitchell texted me and was like, it was just fuck. He's like, we lost someone, and then he sent the article, and it was one of those ones where it's like he'd been through so much pain that you have that I'm glad the suffering is over reaction. He'd almost lost his ability to speak. He could speak here and there, as he did one final time in Maverick, at least one final time on screen. He had, still continued though to be very positive and a big artistic presence, and was always posting his paintings and his different creations and crafts and different projects. And it was an outpouring of love, as is deserved. And I just wanted to talk about that because he's an actor that has hit you and I in like 2 different decades. He hits you in the 80s, and then I'm born in the year that he's Batman, and so that was like the Batman I'm aware of as a toddler and a kid.
You born under a Batman sign.
I was born under the power of Val Kilmer punching Jim Carrey in the face. That was
that's right.
Those were the signs of and Tommy Lee Jones wondering why he's there.
Oh, Tommy.
So if anybody has a favorite Val Kilmer performance, throw it in the comments. But Ken, where do you start with this man?
Well, I do want to say Kingsport Cal has one. He said this on my shows this week and saying this on our show now. Highly recommend Heat and the Salton Sea, which are 2 different movies. But if you just read it like that, you think there's a great movie called Heat and the Salton Sea. But absolutely do love him in Heat. When did the Salton Sea come out? I'm scrolling up the IMDb. You and I were one of the first things I want to start is first of all, it is very sad and celebrity deaths can hit you. It's miles may vary on how they find you and what they mean to you. And this one, I was not surprised at all, but there just seemed to be a lot of a love around this performer, especially as he was so open with his health battles late in his life in that doc, which I have not seen yet and now is on my list. But it is fun for me to think back. You and I were just scrolling through the IMDb before we went live, Top Gun, which I, of course, famously haven't seen. Now I haven't seen all the way through and stuff. So not part of the conversation today. That's just a fun little wrinkle in my personality. But for me, it's Willow, and then he's the Doors guy, and then he's kind of this bad boy for a while. He was a Hollywood bad boy. Tombstone's one of my all-time favorite movies. His performance as Doc Holliday, one of my all-time favorites. But I kind of grew up with that kind of idea of him. He could be a little bit of prickly on set. His tactics could sometimes be a little too intense. Even in interviews, I remember him as being someone I was like, kind of when you'd sit down and watch him be interviewed, like I was afraid, like, oh, this could go wrong. So none of that's to say said in negative light or just to take anything away, but it's been wonderful to watch his transition from that. Your generation, he's the Batman for so many folks, and he becomes something else. And what a transition, what a career.
It's interesting to think about too. Like the way you're describing him, he almost sounds like a proto Joaquin Phoenix, as Joaquin would have been a kid teen around that time and was coming up. And obviously River in Last Crusade, like he's coming up as well. But Val is already in that like that next age bracket up with Cruz and with Downey and with Rob Lowe and like all those guys that are coming up. And it's like it's like 1 foot in the John Hughes realm, but 1 foot in we could be solo stars. And they were all sort of like moving in. And Val has what I was saying to you over text, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about this on air, either in Star Wars contexts or not, is like my favorite genre of actor, my favorite type of actor is the guy who has every ability to just be hot, be a heartthrob, be a leading man, and I don't even want to say coast, because you can be great at that, but cash in, do your thing, leave. But I love the guys that look like that, but can be freaks. I love the guy that like can look like that and will still like that. Robert Pattinson right now is that, ironically, another Batman who is he was Edward and he could have just been pretty and cashed in forever. And he's like, no, I'm going to do every weird voice. I'm going to do every genre. I'm going to transform. I'm going to be bald. I'm going to do everything. Like and I think Val was kind of that, where he was like, I was saying to you off air, coming off of this 80s success and with Willow in the late 80s, he didn't need to sign up for George Lucas's sort of Lord of the Ringsian, but like kind of still very George weirdo movie starring the then teenager that had played the teddy bear in the one at the time that was the goofy one, right? So it's like there was a lot about Willow that like he didn't need to come in and like give it his all, and he does. Like, having just rewatched that, he's all in on the slapstick, on the action, on the romance, and is a very committed guy. And then of course Batman and everything. But I wanted to real quick before we continue, because I don't want to miss this, because it's very cool. Paco is here tuning in live from the Czech Republic.
No.
So Dobrý den, Paco. That's the only thing I really know how to say. That and Jak se máš, because I've been there. I've actually spent like 3 total weeks in the Czech Republic in my life.
Really?
It's a very lovely place. Yeah, I spent an entire winter break there in a snowy mountain when I was 15. So very much.
What? Were you in a monastery? What happened here?
So my mother, in my elementary, middle, and early high school days, worked in property management. Okay. And one of her like clients, she set him up with his American like condo. And he was a Czech, like he owned hotels in Czech. He was from Czech, born and raised there, and his name was Tomas. And then and then they became friends through business. And one day he was having dinner with my mom and my stepdad, and he was like, "You guys should come to the hotel." He's like, "If you just pay your plane and you don't have to pay for anything else." And so we went. Nice. We went there, and we went to. We packed into his RV and we drove around Europe, and like we did all kinds of stuff. So that's my little European vacation story over there. So
that's fantastic. And Prague ends up being the landing spot for Rick McCallum, right after Lucasfilm.
Of course, but of course, that's the most important thing about Prague. Is of course that it is Rick McCallum's final retirement zone.
I love. What do you know about Prague? Rick McCallum went there. Yeah,
Rick McCallum lives there. Do you want to know some? Yeah. You want to know some Rick McCallum lore that a lot of people don't know? And before we get back to Val Kilmer, So I'm assuming that you have seen the motion picture trilogy known as Austin Powers.
Of course.
So Austin's M figure, Basil Exposition. That actor,
Michael York.
Was named Michael York. Thank you.
Michael York.
I'm forgetting his name. Michael York is Rick McCallum's stepfather.
Oh, I did know that. Yes.
He married Rick's mom. What a weird connection.
Which means how close were we to getting Michael York as Qui-Gon Jinn?
Yeah, or even as like C.O. Bibble. Like that, that would have been like a perfect role for him.
But Oliver Ford Davies.
Oliver Ford Davies, wonderful. Yeah, I cannot get rid of him. Hey, there we go. See, we got some communication there. Yeah, that was some bonus lore there for you, Steve. But I wanted to throw to you about Tombstone, because it's come up in here. Coop saying Tombstone. Steve threw out Heat and Tombstone. We're going to talk about Heat as well, because I just rewatched that too. But for Tombstone, for you, I know that's an important film for you in the Ken canon overall, and then in the Ken Western canon.
Yeah.
the ones I hear the most from you are Young Guns 2 and Tombstone. So I'm curious, like,
Yes.
what is it about this movie? Obviously, everyone knows it's great, but when did you see it? Did you see it in theaters? How did it start?
Saw it in theaters. Yeah, absolutely. Saw it in theaters, 93. So it's still high school, like junior in high school, I think, when it came out. And so, yeah, it had the little bit of the, you know, I'm such a fan of Young Guns and Young Guns 2 that it was like the continuation of that. Again, remember, I saw Madeline Stowe's Bad Girls twice in the theater, too, which is a Western around the similar time. Unfortunately, not as good. But I do recommend people checking out Bad Girls with Madeline Stowe, Mary Elizabeth Masterson, Drew Barrymore, and Andy McDowell. Check it out.
What a cast, baby.
And
what a cast.
Robert Loggia is her dad or mentor or whatever the hell it was.
And you developed a massive love for Madeline Stowe at this time.
I was a huge, and still am, but from Last Mohicans, Revenge, and all that stuff into Bad Girls. And I if I had a podcast, it would have been the Countdown to Bad Girls podcast. Like I was getting all my friends ready to go, and my friend, eventual roommate Casey, went. He was with me. Like, yeah, okay, we'll do it. And like he went to see it. Like I made him go like a second time. And he had the flu. He was getting the flu, but it didn't. One of those nights where he's like, I probably shouldn't. Okay. Oh my God, I'm sick, but I'm here watching fucking Bad Girls with Ken at our movie theater. Good memories, which I need. No, the tombstone of it all is it is a popcorn western, and there's that kind of there's this strong stereotypical masculinity that runs throughout it that maybe you're aiming for when you're younger, and I don't necessarily think is entirely the best thing to look up to, but that's what I think is great about this film, particularly the emotional center, which to me is Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. There's so many great quotes from him that people remember, and there's a lot of toughness and all stuff, but there's a warmth and a connection and a love between Doc and Wyatt that is one of my favorite things of that film, that it kind of is where the film ends too. And I think as I get older, or you just kind of look at things, I pull a lot from their relationship and their connection. In a movie that is fun and has a lot of behind the scenes lore too of why it almost didn't work, a director fired, and maybe Kurt Russell ghost directed it. We 100% don't know. Like there's a lot to it. When they out of that mess, they got I think a great popcorn film that has a lot of depth to it because everyone involved, but because of Val Kilmer.
For sure, I completely agree with that. He brings so much soul to it. Like a vulnerability, like he has undeniable swagger throughout the thing, but because of like obvious story points, you see him drag down into these places of that we know behind the scenes Val really committed to, of like wanting to appear sickly, laying on the bed. They put ice in the bed so he would really feel that way. Like all the stuff that we know, all the lore of who he was as an actor informs the character. He's so, I don't want to be like, aren't him and Harrison the same? Because there is a lot of difference, but I see them in the same sort of like mold of like, they were not interested in being badass so much as they were interested in being interesting.
Yeah.
Like he, because like they don't like by being who he was and by all the character flourishes, he becomes a memorable character. I think more so for the lines, for the deliveries, for the loyalty and all that, more so than even the action. And I think that it, oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, Tully said something that I thought is important. But Kilmer always kind of intimidated me, which is, I agree with this, what I'm saying about even the interviews or press. He just had that like intensity to him. It was like a danger almost. And I if I see him cast in a cast list, I'd think, says Tully, oh, this is going to be intense. And I think that's kind of where I go with that. And which is why the Batman casting was so interesting at the time. Big Michael Keaton fan. I think he pulled out for the right reasons, but then they try to go on. But even just that casting, the Keaton casting is infamously, a controversial decision that worked out well. But the Kilmer one for me in that time too was the same thing because of what Tully is saying. Like we didn't have and this was a campy superhero thing. We were making this Schumacher turn. But you know what I mean? Where it was just like, I'm trying to think of what it would be like now, what kind of actor would show up in Marvel or something. And we do get a lot of them, but I'm talking about someone at the height, especially
a recast, right? Like, especially like we had 2 Keaton films. So it was like pretty firmly, defined as like Superman is Chris Reeves and Batman is Michael Keaton. Like at that point it was generally accepted.
Yeah, pretty much. And Adam West, let's give it
an Adam West. But then you know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. Like it would be changing on a third movie of something to someone with a different intensity, because Keaton's got a comedic intensity too, but they're
It's
not the
great.
same.
It's hilarious. Yeah, but they're not the same. Well, the thing is too, I'm trying to think of, it's not even like MCU now or MCU once it became MCU. I'm trying to think of the equivalent, because again, superhero movies were this thing off in the corner that and Burton had brought a lot of credibility to, and it changed the game. But even then, look at the turn we're taking, and had taken it. It isn't a shot on Batman 2 or whatever at all. But like, Kilmer's casting in that was immediately like, oh, this is different. Like, what are we doing now? Like, this could ramp up what it is, and it doesn't work. I don't know. Batman Forever is loved by a lot of folks, as is Batman and Robin.
Not as much.
I don't
look
into
me, Billy Patterson, people in this very chat. We ride for Batman Forever. It is the best of the original 4.
What do you love about it? What do you love that he brings to this Batman? Especially, again, you're born under a Batman sign, but
it was, yes.
When you come to find this movie later on, what pulls you in about that and Kilmer?
Rewatching it, there's so much of like a psychological capital R romance to it. Like there's it's very operatic. Like, and of course there's a quality to the filmmaking that's a little bit different, where like Burton was like harsher and gothic and like what you expect from his style from his entire career. But Schumacher comes in with a more versatile filmography. The Schumacher movies don't really have like that. They all look like this. But he comes in and is like, okay, what if I use the foundation of what Burton did but injected a lot of Adam West into it. And I think Keaton was great for what he had to establish, but Kilmer comes at like this like nexus point of like, I need to treat this with the utmost sincerity while all this is happening around me. Like, he almost is sort of like the progenitor for like what we see now of like, take it super seriously, even if there's a raccoon in a tree. Take it super seriously, even if there's multiverse. Like, he's the one that got the nipples. He's the one that got the neon. He's the one that had to fight Jim Carrey, because Clooney had the nipples, but everyone forgets that it started with Kilmer. Like,
yes,
he had
it did. Yes, he did.
And
yes,
he had to get Chris O'Donnell as Robin, who was like a boy wonder, but also a grown ass man. Like, there's like all these things about it that were kind of, I don't want to say working against him, but it was a hard recipe, and he plays it with like the nuanced sincerity of what it is, a man wondering like, why is it called Batman Forever, even though it's the third one and not the fourth one? Because it's about whether or not that's all he is. This is the one where he goes to therapy and has a romantic relationship with that therapist, the great Chase Meridian, played by Nicole Kidman.
Chase Meridian.
Dr. Chase Meridian.
I love it. Homer, what's your name? Max Power. Strap in and fill the G's. I love 90s names. I love 90s names. Is she excuse my ignorance, is she from any previous comic or anything? Or she was all new for the movie, right? I think she was
created for the movie.
Oh,
and has
God
maybe
bless
been
it.
used since.
God bless
yeah.
it.
Well, and Michael McCarthy's not wrong. Like, people were mad that it was through a gay man's lens. It's there. I didn't know it when I saw it younger, but like, you rewatch, it's all over. The sensitivity, the theatricality, just like the gaze, the fact that he is shot like a more sexual creature, even in the suit, the leather, the infamous bat ass shots. Like, just like, it's very hot. Says,
it's also very hot. Yes,
it's a hot movie, and he has like a thoughtfulness to him. Like, he's the Bruce that wears his glasses, I believe, the most out of any of them. He has a sort of like interest in the minds of others and his own mind, and like whether or not Tommy Lee Jones wanted to be there or not, like the duality that his character represents with the sort of like intellectual hunger that the Riddler represents with Carrie, who I maintain is incredible in that movie. He plays the 60s version of the Riddler to the nth degree. Kilmer sort of is like this balancing element that like he understands it all. And I always look back as a kid on the circus sequence when Robin's parents are killed. It's the death of the Flying Graysons. It's an iconic Batman thing. And he obviously becomes Robin, but the way that Bruce sort of like handles somebody that has gone through what he went through, I think Kilmer was the first person that really nailed that. And I don't know if he had I'd have to look up the ages of his kids. I don't know if he was a father at the time, but he feels so paternal in that movie. It was really interesting. And I think people like, he was like this, like he had this edge, and like there are some much like it was in the 80s. I'm not excusing anything that might have happened, but there are some stories, you look into it, there are some not I wouldn't say anything horrible or creepy, but like there's some bad boy behavior, like you said.
He's a bad boy. Yeah.
But you look at sort of like the relationships that endured and how and what we're taking from his work, like what we're talking about, and it kind of makes me think like there is something really personal into it that he didn't need. Again, he didn't need to do that with Batman. He didn't need to do that with Willow, and it just feels like I got Kurt Russell in the wake of his passing. Like the story has come back around of like Kurt bought a piece of land for Val, or Val bought a piece of land for Kurt in Boot Hill, and then Kurt bought him a funeral plot in Boot Hill as like these exchange of gifts and like this brotherhood. And it's like that blending of like, he is one of those actors where it's like a little bit of what was on screen definitely was real. And I think the Batman stuff stayed with him. I mean, the last Instagram video that he had, I think it was like in February, he like puts on a cowl that he has in his house and like just being silly. And it's like, it meant something to him. You could tell it meant something to him.
Yeah, well, did you see the doc? I haven't seen it yet.
The doc is very good.
Okay, yeah, I know it was heavy and a lot, but like a lot of it's obviously with his own footage. He captured his whole career, right, his whole life. Yeah, that's fascinating too. That he had it's not foresight that one day you're gonna make a doc, but just like he was such a observer of life around him that he'd want to capture it.
And then I also want to shout out not just Willow, the film, but Willow the series. It was one of those real life influencing the work and like the give and take where like we don't know for sure. John Kasdan hasn't come out and said exactly what he would have done, but we know because of interviews that like they wanted Val in that season, but COVID protocols and his health and it being in Wales and like all this stuff that it just didn't come down to it. But the protagonist of the show is his daughter in the narrative, Kit, and there is a great in the season finale, like a vision that she sees, and you can hear a combination of Jack Kilmer voicing Val and them using similar like respeecher tech with Val's lines to clean up the rasp that he has. And they were able to include him. And Omar Patel posted the other day, who played Borman, that he knows for a fact that Val watched the whole season and loved it, which makes me really happy that he was a part of it.
That's great. I'm gonna watch that right now. I'm gonna send it Disney Plus. Is that available for me to watch right now?
Don't send me to this place, Ken. Don't send me to this angry place. Don't do this. It really does infuriate me.
What Ask Extra Cheddar said is only you can still watch it somewhere legally. Is it legal?
There are ways.
Make it legal. Yeah,
there are ways.
Yeah. Again, that we can go where we need to go in this conversation. I'd love to have all your thoughts here in the audience too. Laserbolt says Matt Mardigan is the perfect good bad guy. Yeah, he played it really well. And I do agree with you too. Looking back, he's still young in his career, so he's still gotta not just take jobs, but he's coming off of Top Gun. Like this is his next big thing following Top Gun, and he's going into, as you said, a Warwick Davis-led, Ron Howard directed, and Howard's got the panache, but even then, he's still kind of Opie turned splash director. It's not, and with George, the Star Wars guy, doing something similar, but like you said, it's a thing. I think that was a good point you made even off air to me. I hadn't thought of it. Like that was quite a swing for Val to come in and do that.
For sure,
and set the template forward for him, I guess, and where your generation and younger found him.
And I think he continued to have that balance, which I love too. Like sometimes cynically, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but like it gets said cynically of like, well, do one for them and one for you, and directors talk about that a lot.
Sure,
and everything.
Sometimes they have to, yeah.
And sometimes they have to, but I think Val had to or not always approach things with an extreme like amount of sensitivity. Like we talked about Batman Forever. In the same year as Batman Forever is Heat, baby, Heat.
Yeah,
the same year. And it's like so I rewatched Heat actually before he passed. I rewatched Heat last Friday, just coincidentally.
Okay.
I hadn't seen Heat in a long time. I was on Criterion Channel, just like being a little film cinephile bro. And I was like, wow, what can I watch on my Criterion subscription in the highest fidelity? And I saw that Heat was on there because they have a Michael Mann collection going on, which is just like every Michael Mann movie is just like hell yeah, like Mohicans, Heat, Thief, Miami Vice, like it's just straight up hitters. And I realized something, and it also ties in with Maverick. Collateral, yes,
yeah.
I said on this show, I can't remember why, but we were talking about Maverick came up previously. Maybe it was because of Mark Ellis. That seems likely that we would have segued him into that. Sure. But I said that I never feel patriotic for this country, but Maverick brings that out of me. That like Maverick, I'm just like I'm like hell yeah by the end. Like I just feel so in it.
Gotcha. I'm joining the Air Force.
Yeah, for sure. Me, exactly. The ideal candidate. I realized with Heat, and maybe it's just something about Michael Mann movies, but like Heat in particular, I never feel more masculine than when I'm watching Heat. There's a couple other things. Like I never feel macho and tough watching professional wrestling because that's theater to me. That's opera. Yeah. Like I never feel that with Star Wars. I never feel that with Batman. But when I was watching Heat, I was literally I could feel myself sitting in my chair with like an unearned swagger. Like you're watching Heat, and I'm like, I should have a Jack and Coke while I'm watching this movie. Like this movie, it is 2 hours and 40 something minutes long, maybe 250 of just pure unadulterated greatness from obviously De Niro, Pacino, Kilmer, but then also Danny Trejo, Hank Azaria. Like this movie is stacked with people, and Kilmer is unreal in that movie. He's just pure charisma on the edge. He's just the ultimate cool number two. He gets away in the end, thank goodness.
The one,
and it's nuts, man. I don't know when the last time you rewatched it is, but
I mean, I'm going to be honest, probably the theater, and not for anything about the film. I like Michael Mann, Last Mohicans, Collateral, two of my favorites. That's not it at all. I remember the time, I was when that came out, man. I was in like studying film school stuff, screenwriting and film production, and everything. So that was like one of those like, along with Pulp Fiction, like we're gonna go see Heat, and we're gonna talk about it for days. If we had podcasts again, it would have been something. But it's like you said, the length was. I've always been like, it's not just a sit down and watch film for me. That's a day.
It's a commitment. It's a day. It's your whole evening plan. And
you know what I should? I'll watch the TV movie version that Michael Mann did before. This is kind of a remake of his own thing.
Something in LA, Battle in LA,
Battle in LA, or something like that.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Obviously, this is about Val, but just like even just like as a movie, guys, welcome to Heat Talk. This is gonna be the rest of the episode. Okay.
Heat time.
Everybody obviously has a Pacino, so it's like, my Pacino will not be better than anybody else's, but holy fuck, like the fact that they only meet twice in the movie is already a stroke of genius after having never shared scenes in their career. Because they're in Godfather 2 together.
Right.
They don't share scenes.
Yep.
They're in different storylines, the past and present. And so when they are finally in that diner, and it's the whole like, you and I are like a couple of regular fellas, and you're just like, how did they do this? Like, how did this happen? Like Michael Mann, like it's not like it requires intense directing to do a two-shot,
right.
like
just let him do it
at a diner. But then De Niro doing, it's like everything that that they do, all the staples, all the impressions, all the little flourishes, from De Niro, it's all there. And it all works, and it's just like, what a magic movie. Yeah, Michael Mann. That's why his last name is Mann. That has to be the reason.
It is. I mean, Last Mohicans has a lot of different versions of what male toughness, traditional, whatever that word means, toughness. Yeah, I agree with you there, and it's at the center of the film with Cora Monroe and Daniel Day-Lewis's character, Hawkeye.
Yeah,
fantastic.
He did Ferrari. His last movie was Ferrari with Adam Driver. Ironically, he just turned in the script for Heat 2. So I don't know what's happening with that now.
Yeah, gotcha.
With Michael Mann. But yeah, he just did Ferrari, and that's another one about like the masculinity and the genius and the intensity and all that stuff. That man, this like
it's the thing, man.
Coop. There's a guy listening to Dua Lipa in the car next to me at this stoplight. Ask him if he's seen Heat. Then that might be me.
Ask him to talk about the scene. What's the thing you talked about? I think I saw your post about Val Kilmer being kind of this wonderful weirdo, paraphrasing. And I'm just looking at some of the chances and things he did later on you know, that he appeared in the TV show Psych. He was in Jay and Silent Bob as Blunt Man. You know,
That's
showed
right.
up uncredited in The Love Guru. Like Tenacious D to Be the Best music video. Like he
voiced Kit in the Knight Rider reboot that only went like a season.
That's right. MacGruber as Kuntz.
MacGruber von Kuntz, yeah. Wow. We also I'm scrolling trying to find the year. For my generation, a big thing is 1998's The Prince of Egypt, one of the greatest animated films of all time, which has a cast. Let me just humor me for a moment.
Okay.
Listen to the cast for this animated film about a Bible story. You have Val Kilmer as Moses, and he's uncredited as the voice of God. So he's got a double role. You have Ray Fiennes as Ramses. Then I'm not going to list everybody's role, but you got Michelle Pfeiffer, Sandra Bullock, Jeff Goldblum, Danny Glover, Patrick Stewart, Helen Mirren, Steve Martin as Hotep, Martin Short as Hoy, and then a bunch of other people. But that's just insane. That's insane already.
And all perfectly cast for the region too.
Well, of course. I mean, like, you didn't get the Steve and Marty edition of the Bible? That's what I got.
That version's out there. It helped people get elected, but the reality is there. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Coop all in on Moses there. Well, at least the character in the show.
At least Val Kilmer's Moses.
Yeah, Val Kilmer. Yeah.
It's funny because it's like I would like to assemble like an Avengers of like my favorite depictions of Bible people and just make that my own personal canon. Like I want Val Kilmer Moses, Willem Dafoe Jesus, from the best Jesus movie, The Last Temptation of Christ. I'll keep Stephen Marty. I'll take Rooney Mara, Mary Magdalene.
Oh, okay. This is wonderful. This is what we need.
I'm assembling my own.
Going into the Jesus verse.
Welcome to the BCU, the Bible Cinematic Universe.
Bible Cinematic Universe.
We're gonna pull it all together.
I'm all in. All in. Great stuff. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's a loss. It's interesting to see people work through this loss. And from different generations too, of just what he meant and where you found him, and whether it was the idol, the big pop idol, so to speak, in the late '80s, the bad boy, or the wonderful, almost weird uncle doing the weird things at the family party.
Indeed. And it's to have a good sense of humor too, not just about himself. Well, I guess it's part of himself, but not just about his career, but also about his illness, like being willing to do parts like Blunt Man in Jay and Silent Bob reboot, where he is like the silent, grizzled Blunt Man and everything. And like, for Kevin Smith to have that idea of like, okay, well, he'll never get to do the legacy Batman thing, but why doesn't he get to do this? Like, and that's very silly and fun. We have here, unless anybody has any last Val Kilmer thoughts, you can feel free to put them in the comments. We can come back to them. But we over here in the land of the super chats, thank you so much to the great Steve.
Producer Steve.
Thanks for the Friday reprieve and plugging the Blather bracket. It's been a lot of fun. A couple of those decisions were very easy. But a few of them were quite difficult. There's definitely a balance in that bracket.
It hurts.
What food tastes better the next day as leftovers? This is a deeply personal
exactly what we needed after this week. After this week. Is the world collapsing? Yes, but we're all going to need to preserve food and keep it around. We're all going to have to shop smart these days. So this is a politically tinged question, Steve, and I agree. What do you got? Smart. What do you got?
Shop S smart. I mean, like, look, pizza's good when you get it. Pizza's good an hour after you get it. Pizza's good a day after you get it. It is. I mean, we're seeing it here. Like pizza, I don't prefer cold pizza, but I will do it cold, reheated in the microwave, reheated on some foil in the oven, whatever. I'm good with it. That's
Laserbolt coming in with a hard meatloaf.
Laserbolt, I'm gonna need you to elaborate on that. I don't know about it. I mean, I guess it just depends on who's, right? Because meatloaf can be tough on a first date, but let alone, on the second meetup, like, it's just, does it get, what do you do with it?
So pizza's not my answer, but pizza's up there. It's just one of those things. It might be. It's too big to ignore. Michael McCarcel says air fryer pizza, which is a good option. I stovetop it again, so I don't put it in the microwave. It's a different vibe, but I don't have a problem with that. But I have a cooker for the stove, like one of those little cast iron kind of plates you put on top of the stove, and I just drop the pizza on there until the cheese melts again. Divine, but not my number one answer. Where are you working towards?
My number one answer is pizza. Specifically, like, I'm really simple. Like people in my family love to throw pizza in the oven the day after, but to me that makes the crust too crunchy, and I don't like a crunchy crust. So I will microwave my pizza for just a quick 30 seconds the next day, slice by slice. Whoa, hold on. I'm seeing something here so Jared,
breaking news.
Jared the Bachman Stubbs, Jared the Dark Jedi, real name Jared Bachman Stubbs from the Nerd Academy, says, my mom makes a bacon wrapped cheese stuffed meatloaf. I repeat, a bacon wrapped cheese stuffed meatloaf. It is remarkable. Me hearing that right now, I turn into the Russian gangster from The Dark Knight. I'm like, I want to hear proposition.
Hear the proposition here.
what is this?
That. I'm listening. Yeah, I did. I made the mistake of not eating breakfast today. So I just Jared, that comment immediately started the grumbles. I'm immediately like, oh, where can I find that today? 7-Eleven? I hope that's where we'll be headed.
For real. This is fascinating stuff. This right here though, we have some curveball answers coming in. Matthew Stokes, explain yourself. Sushi?
Look.
The day after?
I don't know. Over there in the UK too? I don't know, Matthew. You're gonna have to,
The UK?
How does it keep? I mean, I'm out. Look, I'm a grocery store sushi guy every once in a while. I'll get some California rolls, which is, I know, not sushi, but just I'll get some rolls and I'll keep them for a day. But it's dangerous. Usually, it's a grab and eat. So walk us through that there. UK grocery store sushi. Steve points out food talk brings the people together. Love to see it.
Heat of fixings over the sink.
Yeah, that's good. Especially the over the sink portion. Okay, so Matthew Stokes says wasabi and soy masks a lot of evil. There you go. You can just douse it. Just cover in the wasabi. I'm heavy on the wasabi to the point of almost uncomfortable for me, so I can go with that. I can follow you down the line here, Matthew. I'll try it once, and then we'll see what happens.
Interesting. Wasabi and soy, mask of evil sounds like a Legends novel. It just sounds like some weirdo shit that they would have put out in 2002. Yeah.
They put it out. They put it out in '98, and then Phantom Menace changed all of it. And the author.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I wrote Wasabi and Woy, Masks of a Lot of Evil, and Massive Evil, and George shit on all of it.
It's true. That's where I established all of the early Bothan lore.
Yep.
So wings.
Okay, yeah. My answer, again, pizza's up there, pasta.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. My answer is if I can get a good old-fashioned deli sandwich. We're not talking like a Subway. Yeah, maybe Jersey Mike's, but we're talking a good old-fashioned, hard to hold on to deli sandwich. And if I am smart enough and can cut it up, if it's big enough, I'll cut it up. And then the next day for lunch, I actually crave it. This is probably why I like gas station sandwiches. But I just, what happens is it gets cold in the fridge. And so the bread kind of hardens. Everything in the sandwich kind of collects and forms a brick of just taste that I love. And I really enjoy it. And I don't put it in the microwave, nothing, just put it out on the plate, let it sit for a couple seconds, take a little of the edge off, and then I'm in. It's like I do it on purpose. Today I'm going to get a couple sandwiches from the store. So I'll have some lunch this week. And after about 2 days, it's run its course. You got to get it done before then. Not that it goes bad, but it just becomes too much of a freezer or refrigerator sandwich. But that's it, man. That if I'm thinking, what do I want to eat the next day? That's it. Deli sandwich.
Can I ask a follow-up question about these sandwiches?
Please.
In general, maybe not specifically with these, but in general, do you call them subs, hoagies, or heroes?
A sub sandwich is probably the most used. If not, I'd just say probably deli sandwich.
I call them subs, but yeah, because
Yeah.
we have like our main chain is Publix. I don't know if you've ever been to a Publix when you've been on the road.
Heard of it? Yeah, heard of it. Yeah.
And they have what we colloquially refer to as pub subs, because their deli subs are just out of this fucking world. I'll get you one day.
Okay.
Not that I want you to come here because it's awful, but maybe we meet in the middle somewhere.
Please.
But
buy the sandwich there. Put it in your car in a little lunchbox.
Then it can be the leftovers.
Take it up. Yeah,
by the time it gets to you. Crafted Jedi 66 says pasta dishes. Bake that ish in the oven. Throw some cheese on it. Yum. Gotta be al dente though. Don't give me that mushy crap.
None of that mushy crap.
This comment has so much personality. Crafted Jedi. There's just like there's so much flavor in this. Like I can hear it. This is awesome.
Yep. No, great stuff. Yeah. Pub sub, says Steve. Yeah, good pub sub. Is that what you're calling it? A public sub?
Pub sub. The public sub. I get the chicken tender sub where they just chop up all these tenders. They put them in there. Then I do like provolone and Swiss with like maybe like a little like garlic parm on there. Like, man, get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out.
Okay. So Get out like a sitcom. Yeah, love it. I make all the jokes you want. And again, gas station sandwich guy. I'll hit a Subway up a lot. I don't mind it at all. I don't care if it's yoga mats in there. I don't know. Whatever they're serving, I do enjoy. I get a veggie delight. But occasionally I do like swinging over to Jersey Mike's is our chain here, where you get the big like supersized sandwich. It was already expensive. I think it's going to be tariffed. I think that sandwich is going to be a $30 sandwich. No. I might get one this weekend while it's still $22 and have one last go with it.
Oh man, that's so true. I didn't even think about the things that things like that might get their prices raised. Like so example, Domino's for the very first time has introduced a stuffed crust. So the 30-year reign of Pizza Hut having the stuffed crust all to themselves is now over. The end of an era. Like the Undertaker streak of stoner food is over.
It's 21 and 1.
And now it's 21 and 1. And I'm like, oh, Domino's got stuffed crust. Yeah. As a Domino's truther, I'm like, this is our time. And now I'm like, this stuffed crust is gonna be like fucking $30. Like this is like we're not even gonna be able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because every company now is gonna be in panic mode. I can't have Nintendo, I can't have my stuffed crust, I can't have shit. This is
you can't just sit at home on a Friday night playing your video games, eating pizza, getting stoned. You can't. All this is going up. This is going up.
Worst. And what this means for us is that because I can't fill my time with these things, it means that when I am stoned, you're just going to get more unsolicited Star Wars texts from me.
I'll take it. We're all going to have to find ways to get through these next few months and years. So this is it. This is it. And maybe that will be. We've been looking for the thing to galvanize the youth vote, right? In a way that we like. And this might be it. When a lot of folks are like, I can't even sit at home with a pizza on a Friday night. I'm going to get political. Maybe this is the thing.
Maybe this is the thing. I mean, like I saw a post on Blue Sky today. I wish I had the person's username, but they were like, isn't it funny how the keep politics out of video games crowd has now destroyed video games with politics?
See?
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I hate all of this. But maybe this is it. Maybe this is the wake up. I don't know. I always want to look to hope for the future, but it's tough.
And it sucks for you in particular as a comedian, because it means that much like the assassination attempt, like now everybody's going to try to be working out tariff bits, but because it's a little bit of an educated concept, like not everybody understands them. There's going to be people trying to do a lot of legwork, and like it's going to be a tricky one to pull off.
Yeah. I haven't been in the clubs recently. I'm gonna have to swing on over and check it out and see how they're all working into it. My comedy's now 34% more expensive. Like we'll see. Yeah, we'll see where. I'll report back. Back.
Amaranth says, "Can we buy imported democracy at Aldi?" Seeing as how they're German, I would say you could buy a democracy at Aldi, but with like an uncomfortable air of right wingness, like inside the box, like close enough, because when they're like far right party came second, right, in their last election, so it's like I guess that's better than where we're at, You know,
Yeah,
we
better.
fend them off at the gate. That's about as good as you're gonna get at this current moment.
Yeah. Absolutely. I haven't gone to Aldi. There's an Aldi in town. It's in the same parking lot as the Hobby Lobby. So there's a lot of politics at play there. I'll have to
Bad
figure out.
vibes.
Bad
Awful
vibes. Yeah,
vibes.
I don't even go in the parking lot. Like there's a diner that you think I would love. I've been there once, and Joe Starr and I walked in for breakfast, and we looked around. We're like, this is definitely where Hobby Lobby people go for breakfast. We are in the wrong territory.
This is Burbank proper.
Yeah. It's like in the same parking lot, kind of the Back to the Future Burger King. That is the shot in the opening of. In fact, if you watch Back to the Future, it is that Burger King, and behind it is the restaurant Lancers. You can see it still there.
And that's the diner.
And that's the parking lot. Yeah.
Is Burbank, because you mentioned diner and like diner, unfairly or unfairly, I think a lot of us like auto imagine like all of the patrons to be very old. Is Burbank an old place? Like it's
a family place. So there's definitely some older folks, and it's a studio town for sure. But yeah, so it's mixed. There's certain areas. There's the equestrian area, which borders Burbank and Glendale, but it's all kind of the same spot. That is some older families and legacy money, I'm sure. But none of the big wig. Bob Iger doesn't live in Burbank. You know what I mean? It's all the people that live and work. It's the common folk. But also then the writers who worked during the golden age of the 90s and 2000s, where you were getting $13,000 a week to be in a writer's room for 22 weeks or whatever. So a lot of that, but it's mixed. It's mixed.
I was laughing earlier this week. John Mulaney returned to Conan O'Brien's podcast, and they were, Mulaney's got his late night show on right now, and they were just talking about things and old SNL stories, all that stuff. And they were talking about Conan moving to LA from Massachusetts in the late '80s, and like how he, like many people, like myself, like first time I visited LA, I also had like the geography is not what I expected. This is not the area that you imagine in your brain. And like when he went there in the '80s, he was like, "Where are all the celebrities like in Hollywood proper?" And he didn't understand. And Mulaney's like, "Well, you didn't like Hollywood Boulevard? You could buy a sword. You could meet a fortune teller. It's great. That's the dream."
It's Hollywood, baby. What's your dream? Which is right there. Yeah, I remember when I moved in 98, and I had been around the parts before. I had family that lived down here, but I didn't, you didn't spend time down there. My folks were afraid of dirty Hollywood, not even for politics, but just like unsafe Hollywood. So we didn't spend time there. We were down in Anaheim at my grandparents' house. But yeah, I remember I was driving to something, going down the street, and I almost went into a Californian sketch because I was like, I got off the 101 at Vine. I was heading down Vine where it goes like this, and I was like, I just saw Noah Wyle. I remember I went home to my landline and called my mom and dad. Then I was like, I saw Noah Wyle from ER. I didn't see Noah Wyle from ER. It was just some guy walking. But I just thought that was what happened. You're more likely to see celebrities in Burbank than Hollywood proper.
And do you feel closer to that Noah Wyle reality now than you did then? Do you feel like you penetrated Hollywood? Like, do you feel like you're in it?
No, I still don't. No, because I've been in the Valley my whole time out here, Deep Valley for a long time, and so that is very far removed. That is very far removed from it. Yeah. So where I would spend a lot of time, Northridge, Granada Hills, Porter Ranch. There's Hollywood people. Like my friend who lives, his neighbor was the guy who was the creative director of like the Fallen Order Survivor game, like Sting, his name, like close friends with him. So there's a lot of those kind of industry people there, but yeah, it's not. No, it's a different world.
You got your Jen Murrows show.
Yeah, you got your Murrow. Yeah. And I didn't because I spent most of my time in the Valley outside of the industry in a day job that didn't quit. Yeah, I didn't. It's funny I didn't run into Murrow early on. We've been in and around the circle, the same people for like 20 years. It took Collider, Jedi Council, to have us become friends. So yeah, it's to answer your question, I still feel out of it. Like I still feel like I'm not in the industry, even though I am.
We're gonna get really into the weeds here. I'm gonna combine the topic of Alden using his phone when he's stoned. When I'm not texting Ken my thoughts about Solo: A Star Wars Story, after a little puff pass. Sometimes I will just jot things down in my iPhone note. I have an iPhone.
Pass it to yourself though. That's the
Correct.
puff, pass back to you. Yeah.
Sometimes a family member.
Do you go through the motions? Do you actually go, oh, here you go, you want it? Yes, I do. Do you talk to yourself while you do it?
I actually try to sit and like pretend I'm Don Draper. I hold it like in the 60s, like when you hold it up like this.
And I okay. Gotcha.
I'm like,
works for me. Let's make some advertisements.
What just happened? Did my microphone mute because I yanked it?
I think so.
Are we back?
We're back, baby. I hear you.
Giving me audio issues. I don't like that.
Okay. I mean, my stuff's barely working these days. I don't even know what's going on.
Amp.
It's the industry telling me. The industry says, get out of here. Yeah. No, but I hear you. Are you worried? I guess he's... Oh, okay. Yeah?
No.
What about now? What about now?
Please hold.
Okay. All right. So here's what I'll do in the time remaining. I'll entertain some questions from the audience. You want to talk about the big things of the week? We can do that. If you want me to give you directions through Southern California in a way that you won't fully understand, I'll be happy to do it. Yeah, we can. I think Alden can't hear himself. I think that's what the issue is, which I do sometimes have issues with StreamYard. So yeah, I don't know about that. We can hear this. There you go. What about now? Okay, we can hear you the entire time.
I couldn't hear you. That's what it was. And so I couldn't know if you could hear me.
Oh.
Now, at any point, we could have just typed in the private chat. But for some reason, that didn't seem logical in the moment. But in that, sometimes I will write in this iPhone note and I will just talk about like, just write down whatever ideas I have, say that I'm going to turn it into a full bit, and then I don't. You know how that is. You're just like, oh, this would be great. And you jot it down and then nothing. And one of them was the Hollywood dream in my mind. My version of like, I'm going to go and see a celebrity. I'm going to see Noah Wiley. Mine is like, Hollywood should just be like, you're walking around and you just like bump into like Oliver Platt or like Stephen Colbert. Like I'm not looking for like Oscar winners. I'm not looking for A-listers. I want to like the fact that, look, I'm not trying to out anybody, especially nobody who's in the chat right now. But like there was a certain party that I saw on Instagram that Ken Knapsack was at, that Richard Kind was also at.
Oh yeah.
And that was just like, that to me that's the Hollywood that I want. That's the Hollywood I believe in.
So here's the thing, that does exist. And I'll call out Jennifer Muro here, who's been in this business for the same amount of time as I, as a writer, as an editor. A lot of people know she started as an editor, and a musician. She's a bass player. Yes, she is loved and respected by so many that over the years, she just has a bunch of cool contacts and people. So it's not a pretentious party at all. It's a great party. These are just normal people. Richard Kind's a sweetheart. He's one of the sweetest people I've ever spoken to. He's a delightful human being. And so that is the case. I've never been, so I do have a lot of those connections of just a lifetime living out here, but I just feel like I'm always an outsider in those situations. So it does exist. If you get out here, Alden, that you can find your way into those worlds, and then it will be exactly what you described.
I'm going to ride the Ken Knapsack train as far as I can take it, and then when you're like
that train,
when you're like there's
no more cocaine,
there's when you're like there's no more Ken Knapsack train, then I'm gonna pull you up on my shoulders like you're Frodo, and we're gonna go the rest of the way.
She does a celebrity base. I've met Richard Kind and spoken to him at Jen's house, but I've also met him before. Another place. So when I was the security director of the farmers market at 3rd and Fairfax, which is a historical location in which the Grove sits and everything. It's the center of it. The farmers market was where, like, when I first got security director, Robert Altman would be down there having coffee every day. Paul Mazursky, the late Paul Mazursky, Richard Kind, he was in that group. Jeff Garland, that's where I met. I didn't meet him in comedy. I met Jeff Garland walking him up to his office. My ex-girlfriend at the time, her mom still owns a coffee shop there. She was a barista. That's how we met. Like her favorite, her most loyal customer was John Malkovich. Wow. And Malkovich would just come and only talk to her because he was a wonderfully weird dude, very nice, but just like he only felt comfortable talking to her because she doesn't give a shit. You know, it was John to her. So that does exist. I want to make sure your dream. My point of this, Alden, I'm trying to end the week on hope.
That my low stakes dream is possible.
You can come out here, hang out with Nikki Kumar, and you'll find these folks.
That's it.
You won't find them with me anymore.
What you just described, but you're like, Yeah, I was dating a barista. She knew John Malkovich. Like that is
when I'm talking
dream.
about it, like he would just sit there, lean on the counter, order a coffee, she'd make it, and he'd just be like talking story, and he would say, and I think it was referring to the late Glenn Headley, the mother of my children does not want one of our kids to do that. Like it's just just so casual, and it was also weird because it was a celebrity place. Like that was my interactions with Britney Spears, Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie, and that kind of stuff. Posh Spice, Victoria Beckham, all that kind of stuff. But people like Tom Cruise one time walked by. Swear to God, with a hat down low, no one would know. You know what I mean? So that world does exist. I want your dreams to come true, Alden.
I do too, dude. Look, man, I'm not asking for much. It's me and my date Alana Haim. Just like, we roll over to Ken's house, we pick Ken up, and then we just go and we go out. That's all I want. I'm not asking for a lot.
That's all
this obviously didn't happen as much in Miami because it's like it ain't Hollywood, but every now and then some shoots there. And when I was a kid and I was taking acting classes, I took them in Miami, and it was basically a little farm to pump out commercial actors is what it really was. Sure. And so it's like I was doing a lot of reads for Pop-Tarts and Captain Crunch, things like that. I did not book anything. There is no Alden commercial footage that you can find, unfortunately. But one time my sister and mom dropped me off there, and they went to this salad bar near where I was doing my acting classes. And that was why that was wild, to tie it back to the beginning of the conversation when Michael Mann was making Miami Vice and they bumped into Colin Farrell and his then newborn, and my sister, who was super into him as a heartthrob, was freaking out. And that's the only Florida version of that we have.
It can exist. The season 2 of True Detective, they shot a mall. They shot a little scene at the mall. It was the security director added, so I got to see Colin work. Eli says this: me and my date Alana Haim. Wow, this went from 0 to 10 so fast, Alden, which is perfect.
Look, man. Alana Haim was on. This wasn't recent. This was when she was promoting Licorice Pizza. But she was talking, I think, to Seth Meyers about how she has had people DM her about her teeth, which, first of all, is very rude. It's just very fucking rude. It's just rude to do. But she had a sense of humor about it, and she was like, "Yeah, people DM me about my teeth and everything, and I'll read them and stuff." And I was just like, "Man, she's reading DMs about her teeth.
She's stronger than I am.
I'll say nice things about them, Alana. I like your teeth."
There it is. There's the clip.
Me, you, and PTA and Maya Rudolph. All hang out.
All hang out. Yeah. Just driving around the valley.
Look at this. I'm
Steve
getting the dirt.
K-Bart ad as a baby. I love that.
Steve, send us the ad if you can find it.
Yes, please. We need to put that up on the internet.
This is also huge. I'm going to be Ken's date to the next party. Perfect. Absolutely. Wherever it is, wherever it's at. We're going to be wrapping in a minute.
Yep. Wrap it here.
Unless anybody has a very last minute light question, we are going to start closing. And I will say, it's not because we don't love you, but you will be happy to know it's because we're recording a little show called Casterly Talk. So everybody can stop asking. I know Ken has posted to the channel.
Yeah. There's some great clip outs we got from the Blathering. Jared the Tide Pilot conned me into doing it, and it worked. But yeah, we got the Ryan Condal interview that came out this week as the season 3 goes to camera, and we just thought it was interesting, something to talk about. Ryan blasts George R.R. Martin. That's our title.
Ryan dunks on Gurm.
Tully asked us. Bully works. Confirm or deny, does Grace own a sword? Yes, absolutely owns a sword. Yeah, she's a trained broadswords fighter.
Yeah, you've got some weapons. Jen Muro's got some weapons. You guys are
Jen's got swords and bow and arrows. During the apocalypse, I'm running to her.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, there's a clear Burbank might be the last stronghold of they would be the survival.
We'll hold the line. We got to be careful. I don't know who will be on your team when that.
Kingsport Cal has nunchucks.
That is what I would.
Makes a lot of sense.
I wouldn't want Cal to not have nunchucks.
Of course.
All right. Are we out of here? We doing it? Thank you, everybody. I needed this kind of quieter episode today, so I appreciate you all letting us flex when we need to. But we'll get to the serious stuff and all the things that matter. Pay attention, plug in, all those things. Celebrate the wins, even if they're complicated. We need those. And that's my take. You?
My take is right here. I will answer this question next time about Gaga and Dua Lipa. We call that a cliffhanger, ladies and gentlemen. We will catch you next time. Goodbye.
There you go. Bye.